Hi everyone. It's going to be a short one this time. In this video, we're going to add Redis and refactor some of our code in our Node application. So the first thing that I'm going to do is install a few dependencies here. Make sure I install the dev dependencies as well. So the package io-redis is what we're using to create the connection to our Redis database. Now, Redis, we're not doing much with it yet. All we're trying to do is implement rate limiting, and there are handy packages that will basically take care of all of that from Express, rate limit, and rate limit Redis are those packages. And we're also installing a few type definition packages as our dev dependencies as well. Next, I'm going to grab these guys right here, add them into my index.ts, and copy that, add it below where app is defined. So from here, I'm going to do yarn dev. It's probably going to give me an error. Yep, there we go. It says, could not find declaration file or module rate limit Redis. Try npm install at types/rate limit Redis. So basically it's saying that, listen, this package right here, rate limit Redis, is written in JavaScript, and there are no type definitions for that JavaScript package to use in TypeScript. So it's suggesting that we try to find that package like this. Unfortunately, there is none, so we're just going to have to create our own file for that. It's not that difficult, especially if we just want to get the error to go away. We're going to create a folder called types, and inside there, create a file name called, I believe, rate limit redis.d.ts. Is that correct? Yep. Paste that code over, save it, and let's yarn dev again. This time, it'll probably give us a different error because there we go, I don't believe I have Redis running. So let's do that as well. Okay, finally, it should spin up the server without complaining. Very likely. There we go. Refresh this. Yep, everything looks good. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is add cores. Let's do that. Add cores. Yarn add fd types cores yarn dev, and grab a hold of this code right here and grab a hold of that, paste it below here. Now our code was working beforehand when we were making GraphQL requests from our React application. It was working just fine. But we would need to set up our cores anyways eventually once we start using authentication and deploy our app and so on and so forth. So why not do that right now? Instead of just completely hard coding it this way, I am going to do process.env. What should I call it? Something along the lines of front end host. If that does not exist, we're going to hard code it, right? And let's just make sure that it actually works. Our React application is running as well. Refresh this, cool, and we go to users. Okay, all right, it's a cores error. Let's see why. Oh, I know. We need to do that, most likely. Do this, refresh this page. Okay, now it works. So let's actually fix our notes here. We'll grab that, go to our notes, fix it. Yep, okay. So that's working as intended, and now we're gonna refactor our code a tiny bit because our index.ts file is getting longer and it's just growing ugly. So the first thing that we're gonna do is create a separate file for creating typeform connections, so creating connections to our Postgres database. Let's, inside our source folder, create a folder name, file name, create typeform connection.ts. and we will grab this, paste it there. I think that's all I need really. Okay, cool. Now with that, what I can do is, I'm not going to do any of this. So I can remove this, but I do need to get create, what did I call it? Typeform, there we go. Grab a hold of that. So what I'm going to do is const typeform connection equals await. Do that, and when that works, run migrations. Fantastic. One quick thing to note here, async await is fantastic. It's even better than promises, but one thing that I don't like about async await is that it's harder to handle errors, do error handling when you're using async await compared to promises. So with promises, you can do very easily do something along the lines of then and then also catch, right? The thing is with async await, if this being a promise, if it gets rejected, it'll just throw an error instead of providing us an easy way to just handle that error. Well, we'll worry about that for now because we're just going to assume that the connection will always work, or maybe it's a good thing that it actually throws an error and actually just doesn't allow us to even run the server. We'll think about that later. The next thing that we are going to do is grab a hold of these things, the resolvers outside of index.ts, because most of the code that we will write now from now on will be just GraphQL resolvers. So we will create another folder here called resolvers. Okay, so I guess I created one already, and we're going to create another folder called users. All right. What? Okay. And we will create a file named getUsers.ts. Grab a hold of this, put it inside getUsers, save that, and that's all good. So that will basically allow us to remove this, but there are a few steps remaining, which is building the schema and then putting inside Apollo server. So we need a file that would handle that for us. We're just going to create a file folder called utils and build GraphQL schema. Create a file called build GraphQL schema.ts. Inside there, it's going to grab a hold of this. Now you can see that it says resolvers, user, get users. Why is it saying that? Cannot find module. Resolvers, user. Oh, it's because I called this users. Let's do that. Okay, now it's saying it's okay. Cool, save it. Get users, all good. Okay. And in our index.ts now what we can do is pretty much get rid of all of that, right? And now we really don't want to do this. We can remove that as well. So we don't need user model here. We don't need that. However, what we do need is schema, or what are we calling this? We're calling it build GraphQL schema, right? So we're gonna grab that, build GraphQL schema. Fantastic. Grab a hold of that, and we're gonna say const, I believe, schema equals await build GraphQL schema, right? Okay, and then we're passing that in. Save this, yarn dev. Hopefully things will work just fine. Seemingly it does. Go back over here, refresh. Hit this, fantastic. Let's try something else, email. Fantastic, okay. Cool, so in this video we added Redis, we added cores and just refactored our code a tiny bit. In our next video, we're going to actually start writing tests in our backend. All right, until then, cheers.